Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are out here at Wildwood Cemetery in Polk County, Florida. And the thumbnail is not wrong. We are here to visit the world's oldest man, right? Now, I'm pretty sure that his claim to fame is not true, but we're going to humor Mr. Smith and talk about his life, and we're going to go visit the grave of the world's oldest man. I thought that was kind of, an interesting thing to do while we're down here in Orlando. So I was like, hey, let's go do it. And if this is your first time here, I hope you enjoy the video. If so, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all those things. And if this isn't your first time, hey, welcome back. I always get that stuff out of the way because of the algorithm, right? We're all slaves to that. So let's get this camera turned around, or we'll just walk somewhere throughout the cemetery. We'll talk about Mr. Smith, his life, and then we'll go visit the grave. They are having a funeral. Like, you can't see it, but it is just right through those trees over there. So we're going to try to, it's in the same area where he's buried, so I'm over here on the other side of the cemetery, trying not to be in the way or be too loud. So Smith stated that he had been born in Liberia in 1842, and he was kidnapped and brought to the U.S. at the age of 12 and sold into slavery in Louisiana, then to Texas to a rancher. Later research indicated that he had been born around 1874 or a little bit later. In particular, his marriage certificate, issued on January 8th of 1910, listed him as being 35 years old at the time. So it's already starting to fall apart, and we've just read, 3-4 sentences? He died here in Florida on October 5th, 1979, at the age of 105, according to research, or 137, according to himself, right? Later, subsequent research showed Mr. Smith listed in the 1900 census as 21, suggesting he could have only actually been 100 years old. It is possible that he was given the birth name Mitchell Watkins. Mitchell Watkins. God, I've struggled trying to learn that earlier. And adopted an early age and was adopted. Gosh, man, why am I struggling today? This is how it goes. Sometimes I'll go through 3 and 4 different, cuts to try to, edit that out. But hey, we're leaving it in today. He was adopted at an early age in the years right after the Civil War, with his memories, establishments from stories told by older ex-slaves. But evidence of this is spotty, and is unlikely that such an adoption would be verifiable with records. Quite unreliable, especially right after the Civil War. Smith became a major celebrity in Central Florida after news articles were published about his alleged longevity. He was invited to view the launch of Apollo 17 in 1972 from the VIP area at the Kennedy Space Center. He amused reporters with his skeptical comments, asserting that they ain't nobody going no moon, me, you, or anybody else. And after the launch, I see they going somewhere, but that don't mean nothing. So, the New York Times published an article on Mr. Smith, and it says, Mr. Smith, perhaps the oldest person in the United States, an assertion disputed by the editor of Guinness World Records, died Friday at the Bartow Convalescent Center, a nursing home in Bartow, Florida. He was said to be 137 years old. It's been a nice stroll through here today, isn't it? I gotta say, the cemeteries in Florida are pretty much like cemeteries anywhere else, right? A spokesman for the Lakeland General Hospital, where Mr. Smith was taken for an autopsy, said that Mr. Smith had died of natural causes. A preliminary autopsy report indicated that death had resulted from old age, chronic heart, and kidney failure. Well, even over 100, you can't knock your organs for quitting then, right? There's a lot of damage here too. Like, you can probably see it as I walk through the cemetery, how much is just messed up. from the hurricanes that have come through this year. Mr. Smith's assertion, this is still from the New York Times article, Mr. Smith's assertion that Mr. Smith asserted that he had been brought to the U.S. from West Africa was once verified by Social Security officials who said they had turned up documents that showed Mr. Smith had been sold into slavery in New Orleans in 1859 when he was 12 years old, and Franklin Pierce was the 14th president of the United States. Like, that's how long ago. Mr. Smith once said that he had been coaxed. Let's go this way. He had been coaxed into going onto a slave ship docked in a Liberian port by a man who told him there were fritter trees on board with lots of syrup. So the other thing that I thought was a fantastical story was Mr. Smith claims that he rode with the Jesse James gang, and he had gone off with Billy the Kid to get the man who killed President Garfield. Like, you gotta love stories, right? They just always get better and better. So they asked him before he passed away what he liked to do. And Mr. Smith said, "I like to drink rye whiskey. I drink it neat, and I smoke cigarettes." Nurse and home authorities reconsidered the ban on liquor when Mr. Smith boycotted taking his vitamins. A compromise was agreed upon, however. Mr. Smith agreed to take the vitamins washed down with a shot of rum. He is survived by a son who's 70, maybe a little older, Chester Smith, his only survivor. All right, so we're here at the grave. The funeral is just right over there. But this is what we came to see right here. Charlie Smith, America's oldest man. Right there. Let's look. There's nothing on the back. Whether or not he's the oldest man doesn't matter. It makes for a great story, doesn't it? I mean, who else can claim that they rode around with Jesse James, right? All right, that's it. We visited the grave of America's oldest man. Oldest man, right? Okay, cool. So, that was pretty fun. I'll tell you what, let's go back over here and do our thing. Yeah, thanks for watching if you made it this far. I mean, it's awesome. You guys are great. I mean, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't get to do this stuff. So I always say thank you. So, you know what? You never know what you're going to find on the back roads. America's oldest man. Oldest. I'll see you guys on the next one.